Hi there. Good morning to you. My name is Cynthia, and I'm here to do a layout, and I also am here to talk about two dreams that I had recently that feel important that I should share here. One from a few months ago, but one just a couple nights ago. And they're going to have relevance for, I think, probably a couple different people in the collective, and there's meaning behind them. So this will be a reading plus some dream reporting, I guess, being via some dreams that I received. So the first dream, and then I'll do a layout to go along with that. So the first dream that I we'll start with is one that I just had a couple days ago, and the reason I think it's important is to confirm some things for you that you might be worried about, and that you can know that there's protection, that you're not, you know, that you're gonna have a way out of the situation. And then I'm a stand-in for you in the dream, so it's important to know that when I'm saying I, and the way that I experience the dream, it's you. You're the subject of this dream, with me being a stand-in for you. So the first dream was, like I said, a couple days ago, and it started off with I confronted an ex about being logged into my information, whether that was, you know, like your email account or something online. An online presence for you could be like a social media account. And he didn't have my permission to be logged in to that. And so I confronted him, and he denied it, but I knew it was true. I had the evidence that it had happened. And so this is maybe somebody that you're still living with, even though you're split up, which happens, right? Or you're in the process of splitting up, but you're still living under the same roof. So after I confronted them, he said, no, that I don't know what you're talking about, but I knew because I had the evidence of it. And so I got upset. This was in the morning, like right after getting up. And in the dream, I was pissed off and upset that I felt like this person was gaslighting me when I knew that I knew what I saw and I had the proof of it. So I gathered up all my stuff and I left. I was like, I'm not going to get ready here. I don't feel safe here. I have to go to work, but I need to leave now. So I got my stuff, like all my stuff to get ready in the morning, my clothes. And I remember leaving and being worried about, like, God, I hope my animals are going to be okay. So that's often really stressful if you're fleeing a relationship that feels dangerous, right? There's those kinds of dilemmas about, like, do I leave the animals behind if I don't have anywhere safe for them to go? But I did. I just drove off. I had all my stuff with me. And then I went and stopped at like a convenience store or a gas station to get ready. Like I just went into their bathroom and was, you know, washing my face, trying to kind of blow out my hair somehow. Maybe it was still wet. I don't know exactly. And as I was doing that and getting ready, I looked over to the side. It was kind of a large bathroom that had some stuff stored in there, like cleaning supplies and everything. And as I looked over to the side, I saw a box of pictures, like photo albums and such. And they were my photo albums. And I was like, what are these doing here? Like, it was really upsetting. And they were albums, a couple of them that I haven't seen for years and years, right? But all of I knew that they were from my family because I looked at them many times in the past. And so I went over to the photo albums and was like, what is going on? And I started going through the pictures, and they were all messed up because they'd been really just discarded or kind of treated like trash, basically. And I saw in the photo album a couple pictures of me and my mother. And that was a lot of the pictures were of childhood and things like that. And so I'm looking at these pictures, and I see in one of them like a really large 8x10 portrait of me and her. Our faces had been scratched out, and that was scary. I remember feeling afraid to see that in the dream. So this could be either have psychological meaning for you, like somebody is messing with you psychologically, like a narcissistic type relationship or an abusive relationship. Or it might be something more serious, like or not more serious, but along a different line, like through, you might have a family that practices like a syncretic magic work, like Santeria or voodoo or some type of practice of the esoteric that's like a cross between, you know, it's a Syncretismo, se dice, right? So like a combination where the saints are involved and there's a belief in both the Christian tradition and the ancestral earth-based practices of like shamanism and whatnot. And so to me, it indicated in the dream that somebody had been using that photo to practice some kind of an art against me and my mother. And so I was alarmed and shocked. And at first I was thinking, how did he get these pictures? I was thinking it was my ex and that he had somehow gotten these pictures and like taken them away to hurt me, right? Like to just trash them and mess with me or whatever. And then I started realizing, no, actually, my sister works like 2 blocks away and she had these pictures. It makes more sense that she would have had these pictures than my ex. Like, I didn't even think my ex probably knew about these pictures. So then I had this kind of whirlwind. And another sister dream I had recently. So if these might have, there might be more than one dream in my Obsidian Mirror playlist that has relevance for you, because there was another dream where a sister showed up in the dream and had been sort of in conflict with me. And so as I was looking at that and realizing it and having it all sink in, I was really crushed, really devastated, and like, God, I can't believe that these were just discarded like trash. Like these pictures of my ancestors, not that they were ancestors necessarily, they were, I was alive for the pictures. But my family, basically, my bloodline, my family, and I was really shocked. Then all of a sudden there was a guy there, like the worker that worked at the gas station and convenience store. And he was doing the early morning shift, and he came in for some reason, or suddenly the bathroom was also opened up into where he was working. I don't know exactly. I don't think that's super significant. But I was telling him about it and saying, God, I just can't believe this is happening. Like, I can't believe someone took these from me and not only treated them this way, but like seemed to be acting out some kind of rage against me, right? Or even possibly like a magical working. And this guy was sort of buff, like he was a lot taller than me. He was kind of buff. He had hair like this long and it was blonde, and he was tan. So he might, that might be somebody that you know. I don't recognize him. I've never seen this person before. In the dream, I seem to kind of have some sense of familiarity with him. But he basically was confirming, like, yeah, that's what this is. This is something that somebody's doing against you, and they put these here, like basically just validating me, like confirming that this was the case. And then he started giving me advice about what to do. And I can't really remember what the advice was anymore, but just ways that you can protect yourself. He seemed sympathetic. He was detached, like he wasn't over invested in it, but you might benefit, or you may know someone that you go and consult with on things like this. And he was just saying, like, it's okay. You can do things to sort of, like, go ahead and take these with you if you want to, as if they had somehow kind of become his, or I don't know exactly, but he was like, and I do think that it was your sister. Like, he was kind of just confirming stuff for me. So then I went outside, I was leaving, and it was a very, in the other dream too, that is posted on here, there was kind of a weird disorienting feeling of like, being caught up in a twist of something, like a just a disorientation, like feeling like, well, I don't know where is safe now. And so he was saying, though, that there's protection for you, you're covered, you're safe, do this, that, and the other in order to get yourself cleansed, right? Like, and that could mean anything to you, like whether that's going and speaking to someone about feeling like you're trapped in an abusive circumstance with someone who disregards your things like that. That's a sign of abuse often, right? When someone destroys your material property or harms your animals, things like that, right? So whatever help would look like for you, there is help. That was the message of the dream. Like, it's very devastating. It's a confirmation. Maybe you have been being gaslighted, or you could be going to a consultant that you already know that practices some form of syncretic practice, magical work that you can go to consult with about how to protect yourself if you think someone's sort of done spell work against you and your mother. That was very clearly, it wasn't just me, it was me and my mother. So disturbing, but hopefully that's helpful. That was a dream that I had that would be important for you to know. And I think maybe part of the sad thing is that you may not, and this kind of thing happens all the time, where if you're in a relationship with an abuser, if they're charming, sometimes people in your own family will side with the abuser, right? Instead of you. Like, if they really like this other person, or they've, convinced your ex has convinced this other person, or vice versa, your sister has convinced your ex that you're a bad person and that you deserve this kind of thing. So there was a feeling of betrayal. So that's the first dream. The second dream, I had this dream over the holidays last, I went and visited family over the Christmas holiday, and I had this dream while I was there, and I didn't really, I do think it was relevant for me as well, but today is the anniversary of my brother's death, and when I woke up and was kind of sending my prayer up to him and my love and gratitude for him having been in my life, and really missing him, because I still miss him to this day. He was so funny and so much fun. He really had a lot of problems too. When he passed away, actually, we weren't really on the greatest of terms, because he was really in his addiction and very paranoid and being a dick, basically, which happens, right? When somebody's like way off in their addiction, like they become really kind of self-obsessed or self-absorbed and have a hard time having accountability. But I know and understand, and I did even then, that wasn't him, that it was the addiction process. But I love and miss him every day. So when I woke up, it was sort of like just this jolt of awareness of like, I should share the dream that I had over Christmas, because there might be some relevance for someone out there. So, and I'm someone who still feels my loved ones' presences that have passed on, and I'm really grateful for that. And so I'm really sending love up there to Joseph Scott Vogel, knowing that he's at peace and looking down at times, especially on a day like today. So the dream I had, again, the one I had around Christmas, is also similar to another dream, a different dream I had that's on the playlist, where I had arrived, this is in real life, I had arrived safely at my aunt and uncle's home. It was a really joyful reunion for us. We haven't seen each other in over 10 years. It was a really wonderful, wonderful trip. And my aunt and uncle are very godly people. They're, I gotta acknowledge, like, I don't have a ton in common with them spiritually. They're not evangelical. They've always been in the church. They're members of the Church of Christ. But that's not a world I'm comfortable in necessarily. And I remember being a little bit uneasy kind of about like reconnecting with them and hoping that we weren't so far apart in our perspectives in life that it was going to be difficult. I really wanted the visit to go well, and it did. My aunt and uncle have their feet on the ground. They've been very spiritually motivated and godly Christian people ever since I've known them, and they were raised in the church and whatnot, so they're very committed to their faith. And what is humbling for me is that even though that isn't necessarily my world, I believe in the practices or beliefs that take place in the Bible, right? But I am Jesus and everything. And so I think part of what protected me in this dream was that I had it when I was staying in a home that is very covered in prayer. They're very prayerful, godly people. They pray every day. probably multiple times a day. This was a spiritual Christian holiday I was there for. I had made a gift for them that was an image of the nativity. So there was a lot of that kind of protective energy present, and I think it really helped protect me in the dream, in addition to some other elements. So now I'll just get into the dream. And it's a little bit intense, so just, I'm hoping that it reaches whoever it needs to reach. But it started off with being outside and kind of being like, oh, I'm so happy to be here, like I'm looking around. And then all of a sudden there were attackers around me, circling me like dogs. Basically, they were circling me like dogs would circle and move in on and close in on a prey. And there was one guy in particular that has shown up in my other dreams, and I think he's probably a real practitioner, someone that may do spell work, that if you go to them and say, I want somebody to be under a binding spell, he would do that, right? So it's somebody like that. This guy has white blonde hair, like towhead white, and really blue eyes, very distinct blue eyes. And he was kind of the leader of this. He has been in other dreams, so I think this might be a real person. This isn't someone I know, but it's somebody who's been in like 3 different dreams I've had. So he was just circling me along with these other players, other people, men and women that I can't tune in on who they were, but they were just like tearing me to shreds verbally. Like he was saying like, God, that's disgusting, like talking about my menstruation, like my menstrual blood, which menstrual blood is used in magical workings. If you know, I don't necessarily use it, but I know it is used in some magical practices. And it was something about, they were trying to get information out of me, and they were doing it through just like, this is disgusting, look at that disgusting blood, like just really tearing me down. And the message was somewhat about, you know, some people do think menstruation is gross or whatever, but it was way beyond that. It was like having something to do with my bloodline, honestly, and my ancestry. And it's like they were trying to get information out of me about it, but I didn't even know what they were talking about. Like I was just minding my business, and then all of a sudden these people are circling me and attacking me, and just ridiculing me, like, look how disgusting you are, like bullies in a schoolyard almost, only we were all adults. And they kept pointing at my blood, like, look at your disgusting menstrual blood, like, that's disgusting, who are you to show up here like this? And I'm like, huh? Like, it was very confusing, and I remember just being like confused and not understanding what to say even, or how to deal, because I was so caught off guard. And all of a sudden these 2 cranes fly in, and it was more like, it might have even been more, it might have been like a whole flock of cranes, but there were 2 that flew kind of close to me so that I would see that they were there, and then they kind of flew down towards me so that I would see them, and then they went back up and rejoined their flock. And it's like it broke whatever was happening with those people circling me. And I was like, oh my God, look at that, because it was so close and very spectacular to have these cranes fly so close. And cranes are beautiful, right? And beautiful in flight, and they're very ancient birds. And it broke whatever spell maybe was starting, and by these people attacking me in my blood. And then I followed them. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna land over there. I just couldn't believe it. Like I was completely mystified and awestruck by these cranes. And so I started running to keep up with them and follow them to so I could keep watching, because it was so beautiful and outside of what happens to me in my life, right? To get to see cranes that close, flying in the sky. I mean, we do see cranes here. We have sandhill cranes that migrate through here. But then they were all gonna land. I don't even honestly know if cranes land in trees, but they were all gathered in like a rook. I think that's what a group of crows are called, maybe. Or no, that's a murder. A rook of ravens, or there's a word rook. It was like that. Like they were all gathered together making their landing, and it was during a beautiful sunset, and it was just picturesque, like one of the most beautiful scenes I'd ever seen. And I was so, like, any fear or worry that I had about these people circling me was just over within an instant. They barely even got started, and then these cranes came in. So I think that the meaning behind that is that you may be feeling attacked in your dream space. Again, you may be worried that someone is practicing an aggressive form of abuse or dark workings towards you, but you have some ancestors that came in and helped you in that dream, and they may have, your family or your bloodline might have a relationship to crane shamans. Crane shamanism is some of the oldest bird related shamanism there is. I looked it up after the dream because it was so beautiful. Because then when I woke up out of the dream, because as I was watching them during this land on this tree during this beautiful sunset, I started to wake up, and I woke up to cranes. There were 2 cranes outside my aunt and uncle's home, and they were speaking to one another, and it was very beautiful and comforting, and I couldn't wait to tell them that I left out the stressful stuff. They wouldn't want to know that kind of thing. They're kind of conservative people, but they got a kick out of it. They're like, oh yeah, we love the sandhill cranes, and they have a nice kind of close relationship with nature, and always have. My mom's side of the family has always been really connected to nature. So that's the other dream, is that there may be ancestors protecting you that you're not aware of, or that if you've been feeling attacked in that way, just know that you're being also watched over, that there's something greater happening where you have some form of protection through your bloodline, and that might be why this person is attacking you in that way for some reason, because they know that. I don't know. It was a very intense dream, but it was so short-lived. Like, the attack that was happening was just over in an instant. It was like no match for this flock of cranes that came through. It was really gorgeous. So I hope that has meaning, and maybe you might even know who the practitioner is. The person, I don't know him. But he's been in another dream. He's been in another dream I've had as well, where I think he came in to, well, I don't know anything about that dream really. That's just a kind of almost like an image more than an actual dream. So I'll leave that one out. But anyways, now I'll just go ahead and do a layout here. Like, what's going to be important for you to know about feeling this experience, either feeling attacked or wondering if you're in any kind of a danger, or what's going to be helpful for you to know about your current experience. I'm trying to shuffle this a different way. This is a deck I don't use super often. But I went through a period where I was using it a ton. It's called the Mary L. Tarot, and I just love it. I recommend looking it up. I'm not paid by them. This is just because, you know, maybe reader to reader. If you're catching this and you're a reader, you should look at this deck. I just absolutely love it. She took many years to complete it. These are her paintings. The creator of the deck. And she, I think, wrote her own book for the deck as well. Guidebook. It's tarot, but there's a lot of really powerful spiritual symbolism in every card, just like there is in most tarot decks, but she really took the time to describe the spiritual aspects of her deck in a really profound way, I think, and it seemed fitting for this reading today. And the Mary L speaks to, I believe, the feminine and masculine. Mary meaning the mother of El Shaddai, like the mother of the universe and the beginning of the universe, and the sort of alchemy around that. Alright, let's see here. Gosh, it's just like tarot is so amazing. It truly is just amazing. I love it so much. I could do it all the time. So this is very specifically feeling attacked and feeling some type of theft of you and your energy here. The cornerstone card is the Seven of Swords, and the image is very beautiful. It's a raven with a pearl, it looks like, and a snake. So they're caught up in a struggle, right? It's a natural struggle between the air element and the earth element, possibly. And it's possible that this snake is about to win against this raven. But the raven's got something in his beak that's some sort of power source, right? It's really an amazing image. And the Seven of Swords is a card of theft and thievery. It can also be, though, a positive card, like you're going to prevail here in this energy of somebody attacking you. You could be in the Seven of Swords energy yourself, meaning you're going to get away, like I did in that dream with those cranes coming through. Like, people were circling me, and then I got away just by following the cranes, and I was the Seven of Swords in that case, right? Because I prevailed. So it could go either way here. There have been a group that feels sort of against you, right? Like that you may feel attacked by more than one person. Like it could be people in your family, like we talked about in the beginning, like people in your family sort of feel like they might be ganging up on you, or friends or something, right? Like you may feel misunderstood right now and harmed. For whatever reason, the way that she painted the Three of Cups to me is a little bit of a sickly kind of energy. And often the Three of Cups has that. And in some ways, lately, for me anyways, it's been showing up more in that kind of aspect versus like a friendly gathering of folks. The Three of Cups has been showing up a lot for me as a reader, indicating, you know, in a dark aspect, right? Like indicating feeling ganged up on or bullied or worked against in some way by a group. So you've been sensing this. And then here are two pages. There's a Page of Cups and a Page of Wands. So the facts are that there's good news coming, that there's good sort of joyful communication that can come through here, even though, and it could be something to do with the realm of your emotions and your heart center. Two pages are, to me, right next to each other, indicates a little bit of young or immature energy. And we might need to get some clarifiers about what those two pages actually represent, if they represent these people working against you or not. I'm not sure yet. Your vulnerability is the High Priestess card here in reverse. And so you might be feeling like it's somebody doing magical work against you, especially with this card being in the reverse here in the vulnerability position. I'm going to read that all the way in a kind of a dark, or you're maybe even feeling fearful of someone and their power, right? I had a friend who got in a relationship. This was several years ago, but she really went all in this relationship and moved across country to be with him, and moved into his home. And his sister is a practitioner of, like, in a positive way, like she had done things in the home to protect the home, like some workings that are of like the Syncretismo voodoo type work, where she sacrificed a dove and did all that to bless the home. But then he ended up in a relationship with someone before he got in a relationship with my friend that was pretty twisted and narcissistic, and she did some curse work on the home to anyone who would maybe get involved with him once they split up. And my friend was very attacked in that home because of that curse work that this person had done that went before her. And that's kind of coming through for some reason, that story. So this might be something that you're feeling, is that someone has a jealousy or envy against you and is wanting to harm you, right? That's a vulnerability. The very center card is the Ten of Swords, and it's like a cutting down, right? It's like an angel of death writing forward on a horse. So this is an energy that you feel very uneasy about and fearful. And I think this reading is coming through here to try to provide you some reassurance that you have ways that you can protect yourself. And we'll get into that and what it is. And I'll get some clarifiers. Because your strength is the star here. So you are protected. You have like maybe some ancestral protection like we talked about, or a sense of hope and purpose in your life that you know you can keep going even when there's haters around you, right? Like this doesn't have to all be dark arts type stuff, although this is a high priestess here. So to me, it's got echoes of that for sure for most people that this might have relevance for. But with the star card right here, it's just helpful to know this, that there is hope for you, and the star, like this heavenly body energy that comes through to reassure you and guide you and help you stay on course, is a stronger energy than a human high priestess, right? Even a powerful witch, right? A star energy like this is more powerful, like your ancestors, like spirit guides, like things from the other world. The devil on your shoulder is the Two of Wands card here, and the way that it's shown up again is like this threshold of trees, but it's very dark. It's like stepping into the void, and your shadow might be uneasy about knowing how to move forward and afraid to move forward, possibly. Like this person might really have you in your anxiety and in your worries and feeling attacked and unsure what to do and off center. That's how this kind of stuff can work. And that's what was happening to me in that dream of being circled. They were trying to scare me so much and and circle me like just dogs, basically, like rabid dogs or something that was meant to scare me, right? And meant to get information out of me and get, that they could then use against me in some way, right? But it didn't. And so your shadow side is fearful about maybe feeling trapped, or like you don't know which move to make because you don't want to step into a hole or step into something even more risky. In the seen world though, and in your kind of conscious life, is the Nine of Cups. There's something that it's coming through that you maybe feel prevented to move towards someone, like my friend. My friend started feeling attacked for being in this relationship, and it was a really scary experience for her because she had left her job here. She had moved across the country to be with this person. This person was away working full time, and she was at home trying to cope with being in this house and feeling spiritually attacked. It was a really intense experience for her and very scary. So I kind of am sensing that part of the reason that memory is showing up here is to tell you that there's something or someone that's trying to work against you for something that you want. And it could be like a jealous ex, or a jealous third party, or a jealous family member, right? Whatever, something envy. This is something that you want though, but you're now fearful because of these attacks that's coming through. Where the energy is headed is the moon, and we're about to come into a new moon in Leo. So you might work with the new moon energy to usher in clarity and insight about how to work with this. It's also a time that you can protect yourself. If you do something now proactively to protect yourself against this kind of an attack, like whether that's covering your home in prayer, burning some smoke to cleanse your home, however you have ways that you can protect yourself so that if anyone is trying to use this lunar cycle to act against you in some way, you're already one step ahead, right? It has something to do with you going for what you want. It might be this love relationship. This might be a love relationship that's in a very early potential stage, but I'm going to pull some clarifiers here. What are the pages here? What is this relation? Who are they? What is it about? They seem in relationship to one another. And the Page of Wands is the card in the facts position. The Cups is more of a sensing feeling position. And the Page of Wands is facts, which means to me good news, but let's just see as well. Positive communication from the fire element, from the sun energy, right? This Leo energy that we're entering in here. Who are the pages? Five of Swords, King of Wands, Two of Pentacles. There's someone who's maybe making a decision about this relationship. If it's not you, it's the other party. They may be feeling torn between, or feeling responsible for some of this conflict here, because they're now in a debate themselves about, or you are, about whether you want to get into this relationship. I think that's it. I think that this is you. You're not sure if you want to get into this relationship, either because you're worried for the safety of, well, no, this is you. Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit confused there about who's being represented by this king energy. But my feeling here is that this is your concern. You're concerned that if you keep moving forward with this king, who you're very drawn to and who's the King of Wands, you are conflicted and worried that you're going to keep being attacked. You might even be wondering, like, is he part of it, right? Like, is he messing with me, or am I being a fool here, or what's going on? And this kind of work can cause that. It can cause that kind of paranoia or anxiety about who you can trust and what's really going on, like what's real. What else should you know about this High Priestess? Emperor at the bottom of the deck. The World, the Seven of Cups, and the Ten of Pentacles. This High Priestess is someone that is not wanting this world to unfold for you and is creating illusion, like we said. She's creating an atmosphere of illusion and fear. And it's around your abundance. So it's somebody that's in like an envious, covetous energy. And it's got you now doubting, like, maybe I don't want it. Maybe this isn't worth it. Like, I don't want to be, you know, my friend went through that. She was like, I'm starting to feel like this is a mistake. I don't know what I should do, because the spell work that this ex did on that home was very powerful. And I actually witnessed some of it because we were on a video call together when she was confiding in me about it. It was really scary for her. And you could feel the energy. It was strong. Whoever she worked with or hired had some skill in what they were doing. But she had an ally, right? Her boyfriend's or her partner's sister was a practitioner that could maybe have helped, right? I can't remember how she ended up solving or resolving the situation, but she wasn't alone. She had access to someone who she felt she could trust, who's a practitioner as well. What about this moon energy here? What's going to be important for you to know about the lunar energy? The Two of Cups, the Ten of Wands, and Strength. So that's really, be strong through this lunar cycle. This love feels like it's, you know, you're a little worried about, you know, I don't want to keep feeling burdened and attacked. Like, but I think what this is saying is that with this lunar cycle coming to a close, if you're strong through it, you're on the last stretch. Like, the love is worth it, is kind of what I'm picking up here. I'm going to pull some Kipper cards too. Who are the players? What's happening in this? I just love this new Kipper deck I got. It is so, the images are so beautiful and precious. And I read in the guidebook that they're tempera paintings, which are painted with egg. Egg is an ingredient in tempera. And eggs are cleansing and protective, right? So you might do an egg cleanse. That might be something that can help you through this moon. Or some cascarilla. Use some shells, egg shells, and take some kosher salt and some eggshells and grind them together using a rock or using a mortar and pestle, and you can sprinkle that around your sleeping space and around your home. That's a way that you can kind of protect your energy that's not as really expensive, right? Eggs, buying a dozen eggs is cheaper than going to a practitioner, right? And a box of kosher salt. What's this about? What happened here? Who are the players and what is it about? Grief and adversity, murky thoughts. This spell work or these attacks against you are really creating a lot of confusion and worry for you. And that's not a surprise. It's already shown up here. You've been worried, like, maybe I shouldn't move forward. I don't want to keep dealing with being attacked. But you're strong and you can get through it, and it's almost over, especially if you maybe work with this lunar cycle coming up. Good communication. So this is that Page of Wands again. A pleasant communication might help you kind of feel reinvigorated and like it's worth it to keep trying to move in this direction of this love or this new experience, this 9 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. Short illness, so that indicates to me this current circumstance, it's temporary, just like it's saying with this 10 of Wands, the down and out feeling that you have of these murky thoughts and maybe even not feeling very good physically, it's very brief. It's not going to be something that is enduring. There might be some official person involved here or some kind of a legal problem, which can happen maybe if this is a couple that's split up or if you're going through a legal circumstance here. They might be, you know, trying to influence that in some way with this 10 of Pentacles. And you, yeah, this is you here. You're going to be getting some good communication that's going to bring you kind of a ray of hope in this kind of confusing time where you're just not feeling good. You also may be feeling caught up in some kind of a legal process here. I don't know. And official person, military person. So you might be somebody who's in the military, or this person is in the military that you're trying to be with, or a soldier, right? Some type of, it doesn't have like a uniformed masculine energy. It doesn't have, or feminine. It doesn't have to be military. It could be like law enforcement or some type of official uniform type party here. What else? I think some key takeaways here, you can do some work to help protect yourself through the lunar cycle. This phase of attacks is almost over. You're on the home stretch. It's not going to last. And maybe this message is also kind of that ray of light, right? Like, don't let this get to you. As hard as that can be sometimes, it also lends this kind of attack power. And if you can kind of get your faculties about you again and get your feet back on the ground, it helps take some of the power out of someone working against you. Dark arrows, use caution, lower your profile. Everything that we were just talking about. This High Priestess energy, this 10 of Swords, the 7 of Swords. I think here now that we've gone further, the 7 of Swords is you. You're going to get away. But you may not need to be very showy about it. Just be crafty yourself, right? Protect yourself. Do what you need to do. Maybe do some sending it back energy. And you can even do that just on YouTube. Like, you don't have to be a practitioner yourself. You can just set your intentions on this new moon energy that any dark spell work being directed towards you, you're sending it back times 10. And there's little videos on YouTube that even give you the meditation to do that from people who do practice and who do kind of have some presence in the world of practicing in these kinds of arts, right? It could also be something like going quietly to speak with an attorney about this circumstance in some way, because there's a legal situation happening. So that could be, if you need somebody's outside help, it might not be a practitioner, it might be an attorney, right? Or somebody that can give you some legal advice. Can show up in a lot of different ways here. This is another way, right? Like what I'm doing right now. I wanted to ask, who's the military person? Is this, who are they in this equation? Let's see if we can get any more information about that. It's interesting. This might be very specifically someone who's a part of the equestrian community. You might be someone who has horses or rides horses, or this person that you're considering being involved with, because this is a completely separate deck. It's not Kipper, it's Lenormand. In this Kipper deck, this military person's on a horse, and in this message coming in is a person on a horse. And so to me that seems significant. Or horse might be like an animal guide that's been showing up to you in dreams, and that's like a confirmation that this is real and that you're protected and so on, right? But horses have some meaning here. There's a large, you know, this is the home card, so it's close to home. It's maybe not going to say a lot about who the military person is, but you're at a crossroads, or they're at a crossroads. They might be feeling a little bit guilty about this whole thing, or uneasy, kind of like my friend's new partner was. He felt badly that she was going through this, right? And that he had this kind of off the rails ex that was like attacking them, right? And trying to attack their relationship out of envy and jealousy and revenge type stuff. She was angry at him. She didn't want him to be happy. She didn't want him to move forward with anyone else. So she was attacking his home and attacking whoever might come into his life. And so that was stressful for him too, right? He felt badly about it. So that's kind of what I'm sensing here, is that this military person is maybe the person that you're interested in. Horses may have meaning here as well, and he's feeling a little worried, maybe just like you are. So let's see here. I think, is there anything else you should know? Oh, that's what I was gonna say too, like having this anniversary here of my brother and nephew's deaths coming up, and my birthday and this new moon inspired me to like clean up my altar, clean up my card table, cleanse my cards. So you might also be someone who is part of this community and does this kind of work, and that can be a good way to protect yourself while these dark arrows are here. Honor your ancestors, clean your altar, burn some smoke, right? Or burn some plants, and know that it's almost over. It made me feel really good when I got done with that this morning. I was like, oh, so happy to look at my cleaned up altar. My table is a lot more organized now. I have all my cards here. They're not scattered in like 4 different places. It's a nice feeling to get work like that done. And when you do that kind of cleansing, even if it's just cleaning your house, doing like a thorough cleaning can help clear your mind as well as the confusion. Because having your home in order helps your mind to be in order, right? Any final messages? Believe that and know that this is almost over. Very fiery as well. And look at this person looking down on you from the heavens. There's people watching over you. You're not going through it alone. Don't let this person get in your head too much, because they're not going to prevail here. You are. Let go. Let go of the worries is kind of what I'm reading here. Let go and let some of the energy around you support your work while you lower your profile a little bit. And set positive intentions. And here are these horses again. Horses have some significance here. White horses. I have another friend who I'm in regular contact with now, and we both have a little bit of a thing about white horses, so you might as well. I would look into the meaning if you haven't already, if you don't already know this relationship, and look about the white horse energy and see what it's about. But with this new moon in Leo, set your positive intentions for what you want. Like, I want this to be done. I want this person's attacks not to prevail. I send their dark energy back to them, you know, and trust that that is going to work and that you're protected, because it isn't just you. You're not working alone. You're working with guides in the other planes that are helping you. Liberation. That's so beautiful. It's about to be done, just like that Ten of Wands said. And into some joyful things. Love, a Two of Cups, and a Nine of Cups. And the Star card. So those are the images that you want to hang on to here in this situation. So I hope that's helpful to you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. I am offering personal readings, and I'll put some information if you want to do a personal reading with me, how you can go about that. I'll put that in the description box. I've changed up my methods a little bit, and so I think this is going to be a little bit easier for people to access. I've had more than one person ask, and the way I have it set up now, I don't think it's a simple process. So I've kind of simplified how you can request a reading. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for being here.